Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Matthew Branch. I'm a first year medical student, I'm a recording artist, and I'm also a music producer. On this YouTube channel, I will be sharing my thoughts on medical school, music production, and everything personal development. Today's video is the first in a series of videos I'm going to be releasing on how to be more efficient in different domains of your life. Today's video is specifically about how to be more efficient as a student, and I'll be sharing ideas on efficiency that I've learned during my first semester of medical school. Before we talk about my ideas on how to be a more efficient student, we need to define efficiency and talk about why we want to be more efficient. So a lot of people may mistake efficiency to mean just getting through things as quick as possible regardless of the outcome of your efforts, right? So you're just trying to speed through things. If it doesn't turn out that great, that's okay, you're being efficient. That could not be farther from the truth. How I define efficiency is simply condensing the amount of time that it takes you to do a task to the same level or an even higher standard than it would have otherwise taken you. So you're just shortening the amount of time that it takes you to do things and put out the same quality at work, right? You're not losing quality for speed. Now, why do we want to be more efficient? Well, if you can shorten the amount of time that it takes you to do the things you need to do, that gives you more time to engage in the things that you want to do, right? So if you have more free time, that means you can do more things like relax or spend time with loved ones or work on a side hustle or start a business or anything. The possibilities are endless, right? So basically, being more efficient is going to give you more free time, which is going to give you a better work-life balance. This is going to result in you being happier, having a better mental health, and an overall better quality of life. And some people might be quick to say that, I really don't think I could be more efficient. I'm really busy, I have a lot of work. I don't think I'm going to be able to cut down the time it takes me to do those things. And I'm here to say that even if you can cut down the time it takes you to do your work by 15 to 30 minutes a day, which honestly I think is totally doable, the 30 minutes a day really adds up. Imagine if you spent 30 minutes a day of quality time with your significant other, or 30 minutes a day working on a business. That time's gonna really add up and allow you to make progress in different areas of your life. So now that we've talked about efficiency, let's get into the topic of today's video, my 3 ideas of how to be a more efficient student. My first idea on how to be a more efficient student is to take notes only on the information that is absolutely the most important. So when I first started medical school, I was taking way too many notes. I was taking pages and notebooks of notes. It was crazy. I was spending so much time making notes that by the time the exam came around, I hadn't studied all of the material because I'd spent so much time on creating notes. Now back in college, this was how I studied, and it worked for me, right? I would just write down all the information that they gave us over and over until it was engraved in my mind. And I thought that that was the best way to proceed. But when I got to medical school, I learned that that doesn't work when you have a ton of information to handle. Because like I said, you spend so much time writing notes that you don't actually get to learn all the material you're responsible for. So what I would suggest is, instead of writing everything down, limit the amount of notes you take to only the most important information, and only really the information that you don't think you could quickly find on a PowerPoint slide, right? So if there's a piece of information that's in bold print on a PowerPoint slide, you don't need to write that down because you can easily access that, right? So that's my advice. Limit the amount of notes you take. It's going to save you some time right there. My second tip on how to be a more efficient student is that when you encounter a challenging subject that's hard to understand, slow down to make sure that you're fully understanding what you're studying. To illustrate this point, I'm going to give you another example from my first semester of medical school. So when I first started medical school, I felt a little bit overwhelmed at how much information there was to learn for each exam. So I thought the best way to go about my studies is, when I wasn't taking way too many notes, I was just trying to get through the PowerPoints as quickly as possible, right? I thought the quicker I got through my stuff, the better, because it would just allow me more time to prepare for the exam. Because the material in medical school that you're expected to learn is actually pretty straightforward and just requires a lot of memorization, going over it really quickly does work for a lot of the material. The problem comes when you encounter a complex subject that's hard to understand. You'll be in this rhythm of just trying to get through things as quickly as possible. You'll come to this complex subject, you'll still be trying to get through it as quickly as possible, and then 15, 30 minutes into this subject, suddenly you realize, wait, I haven't understood a thing I've been reading for the past 30 minutes, and I really haven't retained anything. And at this point, you really have two options. You can either go start over, or you can just keep trying to trudge forward and hope that things start clicking. But in my experience, what this leads to is just a feeling of confusion, a feeling of overwhelm, and of doubting that you'll ever be able to master this material just because it seems so complex, right? And usually what this led to was me just quitting studying for the day, just giving up and saying, I'll just come back to this another day. And then the next day when I would return to the material, it was almost as if I had never seen the material, because the first time I went through it, I was just trying to go so quickly that I didn't actually learn anything. So what I suggest here is to adjust the speed at which you go through material based on the complexity of the material. So if you have a really complex subject, you need to make sure that you slow down appropriately so that you learn it the first time you go over it. Even if it takes you 2 hours to learn 10 PowerPoint slides, it's better just to put that time in the first time around than to fly through it the first time and retain nothing and just put off the inevitable time that you're eventually going to have to invest in that subject. And my third tip of how to be a more efficient student may sound counterproductive, and that is that on those days when you just really don't feel like studying, when you're encountering a lot of resistance, or maybe you just feel real sluggish and tired, just stop studying and do something else. Hopefully something that's productive that you would need to do anyway. So when you're studying like this, where you're highly distracted and tired, it may feel like you're retaining some of the information, but the truth is that you're really not studying to your full capacity. And in order to be an efficient student, when you're studying, you want to be fully studying. You want to be studying to the best of your ability. That way you get the most out of your time. On days when that's just not really happening, it's best to switch gears and do something else that's productive. What you could do with this time is varied. It could mean you go and take a nap if you're too tired. It could mean that you just clean the house, or maybe you get groceries for the week, or you go to the gym. The idea is that you're doing something that you would need to do anyways, and that you're coming back to studying later when you're in a better state of mind. Now, one disclaimer about this point is that if it's every single day that you find yourself tired and restless, I don't think you should every single day just stop studying, right? Obviously, that's not going to work out in the long run. What I would suggest for you then is to evaluate why you feel so exhausted all the time. And instead of just stopping studying, you may need to make some adjustments to your diet, your exercise routine, or your sleep schedule to make sure that you have enough energy to study every day. So there you have it. After going through my first semester of medical school and learning what strategies do and don't work, these are 3 tips I have on how to be a more efficient student, and are also things that I'm going to continue to implement in my own life in the upcoming semester. So that's it. I hope that you got something out of this video. If you like the content, please go ahead and like the video. That really helps new YouTubers like myself out. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. In being a more efficient student, I'm hoping that that's going to free up time for me to upload at least 1 video a week in the coming year, and I look forward to engaging with my audience. One last thing that I'll say is that if you have a tip on how to be a more efficient student, please go ahead and drop your ideas in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you and to learn from you as well. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you're a student, I wish you the best of luck in the upcoming semester, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one. Peace!